The scent of charred burgers and smoky barbecue filled the thick summer air, mingling with the cloying sweetness of my sister-in-law's perfume. Around me, the laughter of my husband's family rose in a familiar, grating chorus. I sat at the far end of the picnic table, my fingers curled around a sweating beer bottle, watching as Jessica, Mark's older sister, held court in the center of the yard, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. She was already 3 cocktails deep, her cheeks flushed, her gestures growing more exaggerated with each story she told. I knew that look. It was the same one she wore every time she was about to twist the knife, just subtle enough that no one would call her out, just cruel enough to leave me bleeding. I should have known something was coming. Jessica's gaze slid to me, her lips curling into a smirk as she raised her voice just enough to ensure everyone heard. "You know, Claire," she drawled, swirling her drink, "if you disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice." A beat of silence. Then, laughter. Mark, my husband of 7 years, let out an awkward chuckle, rubbing the back of his neck the way he always did when his sister got mean. His parents exchanged a glance, but neither spoke up. His brother Jason snorted into his beer like it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. My fingers tightened around the bottle. The condensation dripped onto my skin, cold and slick, but it did nothing to quell the slow burn in my chest. I could feel my pulse in my throat, steady and furious. I took a slow sip of my beer, letting the bitterness coat my tongue. Then, with a calm I didn't feel, I raised the bottle in a mock toast. "Challenge accepted." Jessica barked out a laugh, tossing her hair over her shoulder. "Oh, lighten up, Claire. It's a joke." Mark rolled his eyes, reaching over to squeeze my knee like I was some petulant child who needed placating. "Babe, don't be so dramatic." I smiled. Said nothing. No one took me seriously. But that night, as Mark snored beside me, oblivious, as always, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the moonlit outline of his face. The man I'd loved. The man who had watched his family chip away at me for years and never once told them to stop. I packed a single duffel bag, left my wedding ring on the nightstand, and walked out the door without a sound. The first few weeks were the hardest, not because I missed them, but because I had spent years folding myself into the shape of someone they wanted. Smaller, quieter, less, and now suddenly I was free, and I didn't know who I was without them. I withdrew cash in small increments, careful not to trigger any alarms, left my phone in a bus station locker in a city 2 hours away, a decoy for anyone who might bother to look. I dyed my honey blonde hair a deep chestnut brown, chopped it to my shoulders, and bought a pair of glasses I didn't need. Then I boarded a Greyhound to Chicago under a name that wasn't mine. But I wasn't done. Before I left, I'd made 2 phone calls. The first was to a divorce lawyer named Evelyn Carter, a razor-sharp woman with a reputation for dismantling arrogant men. The second was to a private investigator named Daniel Reyes, whose website promised discretion and results. I met them both in a quiet cafe the day before I vanished, sliding envelopes of cash across the table. "I want you to watch them," I told Daniel, my voice steady. "Every reaction, every conversation. I want to know exactly what happens when I'm gone." Evelyn arched a brow. "And the divorce?" I smiled. "Let them wonder, let them panic, then hit them when they're weakest." Daniel whistled low under his breath. "You're ruthless. I like it." I wasn't ruthless. I was finally awake. The emails from Daniel started a week later. Subject: Missing Persons Report. Mark filed a police report. Claims you vanished without warning. Cops aren't prioritizing it. No signs of struggle, no evidence of foul play. Just a wife who left. I deleted it. Another arrived a few days later. Subject: Family reactions. Jessica told friends you were always too sensitive. Says you probably ran off for attention. Meanwhile, Mark's mom keeps calling your old number. Left 6 voicemails. "Claire, sweetheart, we're worried. Please call us." My finger hovered over the delete button. For a second, I considered listening to them. Maybe there was guilt there. Maybe there was regret. But then I remembered the laughter, the way no one had defended me. I deleted the email. 3 months in, the updates grew juicier. Subject: Domestic chaos. Mark's boss chewed him out for missing deadlines. His laundry is piled to the ceiling. He's living off takeout and looks like hell. Jessica's husband snapped at her during Sunday dinner. You drove Claire off, and now I'm stuck listening to you, bitch. A petty, vicious part of me relished it. 6 months later. Subject: breakdown. Mark's parents are fighting. His mom blames his dad for never making Claire feel welcome. Jessica's best friend unfollowed her on Instagram. Rumor is she's tired of the drama. A year later. Subject: final update. Mark lost his promotion. Apartment's a disaster. Drinking heavily. Jessica's marriage is on the rocks. She deleted all her socials. Looks like the golden girl isn't so golden anymore. I closed my laptop. Time to go home. I chose their annual family BBQ for my grand return. I arrived in a sleek black town car, dressed in a tailored ivory dress that hugged my curves, my hair glossy, my skin sun-kissed from a year of freedom. The diamond studs in my ears were real. The confidence in my stride was unshakable. When I stepped into the backyard, the laughter died instantly. Mark froze, his beer bottle slipping from his fingers and shattering on the patio. Jessica's face went sheet white. His mother gasped, hands flying to her mouth. Miss me? I asked, sweet as poisoned honey. Mark stumbled forward, his eyes bloodshot, his shirt wrinkled. Claire, what the fuck? Where have you been? I tilted my head. Oh, you noticed I was gone? His father stood abruptly, his chair scraping. This isn't funny, Claire. We were worried. Were you? I interrupted, my voice cool. Because last I checked, Jessica thought it was hilarious. Jessica's mouth opened, then closed. For once, she had nothing to say. Mark's mother reached for me, tears in her eyes. Sweetheart, please, let's talk. I sidestepped her touch. No. Then I turned to Mark, pulling the envelope from my purse. By the way, you've been served. He stared at the divorce papers like they were a bomb. You can't be serious. I smiled. Deadly. Jessica finally found her voice, shrill and desperate. You selfish bitch. You just left. You tormented us. I laughed. I tormented you? That's rich. I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. You said no one would notice if I disappeared. I just wanted to prove you wrong. Her breath hitched. I turned on my heel, walking away without another word. Behind me, the family erupted, shouting, crying, blaming each other. And this time, no one was laughing. A year later, I own a penthouse overlooking the city. My startup, a consulting firm for women rebuilding their lives, is thriving. Mark is drowning in debt, his career in shambles. Jessica's divorce was finalized last month. And me? I wake up every morning with the sun on my face and the quiet certainty that I will never again make myself small for anyone. Some challenges are worth accepting. Some lives are worth walking away from. The end.